Students in England pay most but work the least. Nicola Warcock, The Times. English students would appear to be doing little to shake the popular image of young academics, as the slugbags worn out from the previous night's excesses down the Union Bar. A report published today says undergraduates in England work less hard than their counterparts elsewhere in the UK despite paying higher fees. It compares happiness, amount of work, and the fees paid by 60,000 students across England, Scotland, Wales, and North Ireland over 5 years. The Higher Education Policy Institute, HEPI, also analyzed the degree value, accommodation, and student finance. The report, which used a detailed survey of student union patterns, concluded that English students studying in England, those with fees of £9,250 a year, seemed to work less hard than those elsewhere in the UK. The report said, this is in contrast to much political rhetoric on the English funding system, although it may be partly explained by different subject mix among students. It was our original expectation that students in England would be likely to work at least as hard, if not a little harder, than students in other parts of the UK, as England was the only part of the UK to have high tuition fees for the whole period, covered by the data, and high fees are sometimes thought to mean better funded institutions and more demanding students, it said. However, it found that students in England had the lowest weekly scheduled hours, 13.4 compared with 14 in Scotland, 14.3 in Wales, and 14.6 in North Ireland. The hours attended in England were also the lowest of the 4 countries. Fewer hours were spent by English students on completing work outside the university, and they were also the least happy with the schedules. In Scotland, where higher education is free, for the Scottish, students are more likely than those elsewhere in the UK to think that degrees should be free. But this view is still held by fewer than half of them. 3/5 of Welsh students studying in their home country said they felt motivated by their lectures, the highest in the UK, while students from North Ireland studying there had better well-being. Nick Hillman, the director of HEPI and the author of the report, said, policymakers in England have often tried to portray high tuition fees as offering more student choice and a better student experience. Policymakers in other parts of the UK have tended to regard lower student debt as a way to improve student well-being. The most important finding of all is that any differences in the student experience in different parts of the UK are fairly modest, despite increasing devolution and increasingly divergent policies. There is still more that unites higher education institutions across the UK than divides them. A spokesman for the National Union of Students said that it seemed unrecognizable that students in England work less hard. The majority of courses in England have also been structured around independent study, leading to a reduction in teaching hours and contact time with tutors, he said. This is the direct consequence of a marketized education system seeking to cut costs and not, as the study suggests, the choice of students who choose to work less. A Department for Education spokesman said students should feel confident they are getting good value for their investment. We have given the Office for Students powers to take action where it finds providers are not working in students' interests, including value for money. Students in England pay most but work the least. Nicola Warcock.